Hello YouTube and welcome to my introduction to programming video. I'm just going to go over a brief introduction to programming, so listen up and get ready to be educated about the world of computers and how they run. I've made this nice PowerPoint just to guide you through and so you don't have to stare at my desktop the whole time. While it is a nice desktop, we got the Apple General Grievous fighting against the Jedi Android. Obviously, we know who wins. Android is definitely superior. Anyway, back to the video. Here's my little PowerPoint. Intro to programming, an overview, object-oriented versus procedural. So, back one more. I'm going to take out my little pen here, and we're going to look at what is going on here. So we got object-oriented. You might have heard the words object-oriented and procedural being thrown around, but kind of wondered what they are. This is how the programming looks. It's all about the style. Really, when it comes down to it, after you've compiled your program, it really doesn't matter if the program is object-oriented or procedural. The computer will read it the same way. The compiler compiles it down to ones and zeros, and ones and zeros aren't even in procedural or object-oriented. I don't know what they are in. They could be in either. If they were, they'd probably be in procedural. Procedural is older than object-oriented. But I'm not here to give you a ones and zeros introduction. So we got our object-oriented. And object-oriented, think about it, just the name, object and oriented. So this would be called an object or a variable name I used here just to show the similarities between these two programming styles. So you have name, and name, let's say it's a variable and it represents the number 1. Okay. And now do this is a method that adds 1 to your name. So what if you were to execute this, it'd say, okay, the variable name represents 1. And now do this adds 1. Now, excuse my horrible drawing. I'm using a mouse. I don't have a tablet, but bear with me. Now, this is just a simple statement, and this wouldn't actually do anything because you're not changing the variable name, it's just enacting it. But that aside, more that to come later in the specifics. You can see how you kind of read it on the variable name, do this. Object-oriented. Everything is oriented toward your objects. Whereas in procedural, down here, you have do this and in parentheses name. So if we apply the same thing, do this adds 1 to whatever variable is. If name is still 1, do this adds 1 onto name. Inside parentheses are called arguments. So in procedural, everything is an argument. You don't have any of this name dot or period. You have all arguments. So here, it's just different ways of looking at things. So that's an introduction. If you want to go more in depth, I'm sure you can Google. But as we get into our programming tutorials, I'm sure you'll see the differences. Some object-oriented languages, we have Java, C++, C#, Lua, PHP, Python, and Perl 5. I've used Java, C#, Lua, and Python. PHP, I know a little bit about, not very much at all. I just know what it's used for. Perl 5 I've never heard of before, but I was looking for a list of object-oriented languages and put it on there. Procedural languages, C, XML Mosaic, Perl, and JavaScript. C I've had some experience with before. XML Mosaic, I don't know if that's different from XML, but I have had some experience with XML. Perl and JavaScript I have not had any experience with. JavaScript, though, is different from Java. Before I became introduced to the world of programming, Java and JavaScript I thought were the same. Common misconception, but JavaScript is meant for web and Java is meant for Computers, your basic machines and programs, whereas JavaScript is a lightweight, meant for web and small applications. That's the end of my slideshow. So that's all that's going to happen there. I'm going to start off with some Java programming next time. So look forward to that. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, as always.